2026 updated best controller settings for BF6 for how I get my gameplay. Let's get straight into it, in depth with the stuff that I find really important and just brushing over everything else quickly. We start on the accessibility tab. I turn off menu narration and subtitles, so I don't need to go in subtitle settings. My master volume is up at max, as is my tinnitus, and tinnitus relief frequency is here. I don't suffer from tinnitus. If you do, play around with this and see if you can get some relief if it's bothering you. Graphics quality settings. Let's go into color profiles and edit this. I boost up all the enemy and friendly icons to as high a saturation as possible so they really stand out on the screen. This is how I see enemies so much more easily, or part of it. Other bits will come up later that will help you with that. So you just switch to custom and then you put things up at like the highest saturation that you can to make things pop. You can also change the colors for whatever's best for you. Coming back out again, world brightness I have on 45. Now keep in mind, your world brightness goes hand in hand with whatever your monitor or TV brightness, contrast, all that stuff is set at. So you can just find where your sweet spot is for all of those things combined. Down to camera effects, we go into here. I turn off motion blur, weapon motion blur, infantry HUD motion. So this will get rid of any issues, at least for me, with motion sickness, and also just make it easier to see what's happening on the screen. Same thing with turning down camera shake amount. I have reduced sprint camera bobbing on. I turn off chromatic aberration and infantry crosshair projection. This just all feels much better for me, and I recommend it for almost anybody out there. Coming back out. Controls. Hold and toggle. This is just where you can work out whether you want to hold or toggle to make an action happen. So for example, steady scope, you can have on hold or to press it, i.e. toggle. You can do it with all of these things. So if you're in the game and you go to press something or you go to hold something and you get the wrong outcome for whatever seems to make sense in your head, come in here to see if you can change it to whichever one that you want. Back out we go. We go down to controller vibration. I recommend you turn this off if you can. For me, I just have to have it on, otherwise I can't play properly. I'm so used to having it, it feels weird if I don't have it. But if you can have it off, do it. It probably means you'll aim a little bit better. In the vibration settings, you can change all this if you want as well. If you do have it on like me, this is what I use. Back out we go. Play incoming text chat as speech off, and convert this is off. Most of these things I'm going to brush over, as I said, because they're not that important. Menu tutorials off, in-game tutorials off. If you're new to the game, you can of course turn these things on so that the game tells you what things do and you can actually interact with things a bit more easily whilst understanding it. And then the hints, I have these on, I have a couple off. You basically just do whatever works for you with the hints on screen, and that is accessibility done. So we move on to gameplay. Up here. I don't invert my look anywhere, but if you get on the game and you go to look up and you end up looking down or vice versa, you want to come in here and switch it from or to whichever you like. You can play around with them, but I go off. Vertical look settings you can tweak in here as well to be a bit more precise with it. Hold and toggle is in here again. This game in the menus has a lot of things that are duplicated in different places in the menus, making it even more confusing. So that is the same hold and toggle stuff as before, I believe. Capture area outline I have on. This will give you the white outline around objectives so you know that you're within it. If that's immersion breaking for you, you can of course turn it off. Down we go. I show the HUD prompts and the vehicle control hints. Vehicle control hint size I have medium. Action prompts I have on, and ping hints I have off. Right, now we get to the stuff that a lot of people really care about. My infantry aim sensitivity is at 80. You can of course just copy all my settings if you want and see how it feels in game and then tweak from there, or you can just listen to my reasoning for everything and then go and sort out your own values and tweak them from that point. So I have it at 80. The thing to keep in mind is that a lot of the aiming settings in this game all stack. So one person might have 80 here and then another setting different somewhere else, and it completely changes how it all works and feels. But this is your basic sensitivity when you're looking and running around, not when you're aiming down sight. I ignore this because I don't play on a mouse. I have that off. This is standing. You can just tweak these as you want for whatever you want. I don't really need to explain most of these. Keep going down. Keep going down. Right. Vehicle aim sensitivity I also have at 80 for the same reason. I just want it consistent between infantry and vehicle. And then, to be honest, I don't really use vehicles, so I haven't really tweaked the aircraft and the helicopter for a long time. If you're a vehicle player, it's the same sort of reasoning. If you go and it feels too sluggish, turn it up. If it feels too quick, turn it down. Down we go. The control assist for helicopters on. Unless you're a really good pilot, you probably want that on until you're good, and then you can turn it off. It's up to you. I have the decoupled tank turret aiming from turning on as well. So if you get in a tank and it doesn't aim and turn the way that you want it to in terms of the two being separate inputs, come in here and switch this setting and see if it feels better afterwards. Basically, this controls whether the turret moves with the vehicle or not, or stays stationary in the spot that you're looking at already. And then the vehicle boost I have on toggle. Now down to more stuff that's going to be very important for a lot of players. Infantry aim input curve. Essentially, this controls how your aim responds to you moving the stick in terms of how quickly things ramp up, etc. Because different Battlefield games have had different settings for these things. So I'm very used to Battlefield 1, so I set it to Battlefield 1. If you have a lot of experience with a previous Battlefield, you're probably going to be best off setting it to the one that matches that game. So BF3, BF Bad Company 2, etc. Or you can just go with the default if you're new to Battlefield, or play around with all of them. But my favorite is BF1/BF4. I have my infantry aim assist on 100 and the aim assist slowdown on 100 as well. I think this one is only relevant for the story mode, I believe. Regardless, now that they're fixed, I have them on 100. They used to be busted and awful, so now I've turned them right back up. And I recommend you do as well, and ignore anyone that complains about aim assist. Down we go, BF1, vehicle aim assist up at 100 as well. BF1, vehicle aim assist slowdown 100 as well. And that is the gameplay tab done. So we move on to the HUD. Up we go. So I have the HUD on. I only ever turn this off if I want to do screenshots for thumbnails and get rid of all the overlays. As we covered before, I have the HUD motion off. Horizontal HUD padding, I've boosted this up. This brings in all of your HUD elements from the edges of the screen. The reason I've done this is so my minimap is not as far away from the center of the screen, so I don't have to stress my eyes as much looking down to the bottom left all the time. If you're having problems with that, boost up your horizontal HUD padding until your minimap is in a spot where it's easy for you to look at it regularly. I have all these overlays and things turned on. The SOVIS filter I have turned on as well. If you want to make it easier to see the enemy, make sure you have this turned on. It gives them a bit of a highlight so they stand out a bit more against the background. And now we get down to advanced HUD and icon settings, which is very important. Let's head in there. Right, big map opacity I have up at 100. I show kills in the kill feed for squad and nearby. I don't think I need to know about kills happening on the other side of the map. I need to know about the stuff happening around me so I can react accordingly to it. I have kill feed icons off. This will give you the names of the guns instead of the icons, which I think is much, much better, and I highly recommend it. I have the ping notifications for multiplayer turned off. I don't need to see the pings in the kill feed, and I don't play the single player now, so I just ignore this setting here. Down to the world log, show resources, show loot, show game mode events I have on. Simplify squad list off. Vehicle HUD coloring, you can change this if you want. It's very basic stuff. Icon intensity I have up on 100. Vehicle icon intensity on 45. Down to objective icon scale, this is all set to the default 100 until we get some really important things. Enemy icon scale I have on the absolute max at 150. I want the enemy to be incredibly obvious on the screen. So this makes the icons above them much larger, and with me having boosted up the saturation before to the really saturated red, it's very easy to pick them out once they are spotted. I highly recommend this if you struggle with the visibility in the game. Further down we go. I don't think I've changed anything particularly here, but again, you can tweak as you please. Out we go. Minimap size I have on large. I use the minimap a hell of a lot. I recommend you do as well. If it's comfortable for you having it bigger, then do so. 100, 75, and 60. This is just how I like my minimap setup. You can try it as well if you think mine looks good. I want the map to rotate with my movement so I can see exactly where I'm heading to. I don't have the interior zoom on. I want the map to stay consistent in terms of what it's telling me. And then these are the values that I have for this. Down here, not much to change. Crosshair stuff actually does matter. So I have 100 and then 70 for intensity. I changed the crosshair color to green because that stands out to me a whole lot more. I have it on thick as well. And then again, infantry crosshair projection off. I highly recommend you tweak this if your crosshair gets lost for you on the screen. Okay, down to these. You can tweak these as you want. I've changed some of these so that they're better for me in picking things out. You can do the same as well. None of this is super important. I make sure the hit indicator numbers are large so they really pop out to me. More colors. No, nothing particularly important down here. So we'll go across to the campaign tab, which I'm not really going to do anything on because it's just for the single player, which I don't think is that important. But if you do want to change anything about a single player, it's in here. So let's now go to controller, which is probably the most important part of the entire guide. We go through here. Right, controller settings. In we go. So some of this we've already done earlier, but we'll go through it for all the stuff that wasn't covered. So my infantry aim sensitivity is 80. Set yours how you want it. Remember, a lot of this stuff just stacks together to make it all feel different based on the individual settings that you change. So field of view I have on 110. You want to find the sweet spot where you can see as much of your peripheral vision as possible without it being too stretched and without you struggling to see enemies in front of you at a distance. So for me, that's 110. I have my vertical aim ratio set to 40. So this is how much of a difference there is between when you try and look up compared with when you try to look left and right, or up and down compared with left and right. Generally, you want looking up and down to be a little bit slower or quite a lot slower. It's up to you. But yeah, for me, 40 works. I have uniform infantry aiming on, so I have nice consistency across the board. My zoom sensitivity coefficient is 133. This is the absolute sweet spot for me. Try this out and see what you think. If you don't like it, you can turn it up and down from here, but that is my recommendation. We've talked about this stuff earlier on. Infantry aiming left and right acceleration. On this game, I have that turned off completely. So acceleration basically alters how much your aiming ramps up as you continue to turn, as you push the stick and then hold it. I just want it to be consistent, but if you want it to feel like it's ramping up, then you can make this as high or indeed low as you want. Again, please do remember this is all very unique and individual to each person, and all of these settings will stack for a different feeling. So it is going to take you time to go through everything and fine tune it, but once you get it right, it will feel so much better. Down we go. This is just where you can alter your sprint settings. So nothing particularly groundbreaking here. You've also got your vaulting and your sliding, etc. I don't really need to explain any of this. Just do what feels good for you. Same sort of thing down here, but then we come to infantry zoom aim sensitivity. This is 80 for me. This is different to your overall sensitivity. So this is purely for when you're aiming down sight. So you might want this kind of low, and then you might want your overall sensitivity kind of high. Looks like I have mine set the same for either one, but regardless, if you want one to feel very different to the other, you can alter each one in here. And then because I'm on uniform infantry aiming and everything, I've just got all this set to the same, haven't changed anything. A lot of this we went through earlier on. Boom, 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 boom. Yep, and then I don't really use the flick look, but if you want to use the flick look in the game where you can bind a control input to then look directly left or behind you or whatever, you can come in here and change the settings for those. Out we go. Right, you come to infantry buttons, very simple. If you want to customize them, set it to custom. And then you come down to here, you go into edit, and you can change everything in here if you would like to. So if you want to switch around the LB and RB or L1 and R1 to match previous Battlefield games, you can do. If you want to switch your crouch and your melee in here, you can do, and so on and so forth. There's loads for you to alter to get the right settings for your muscle memory. Back we go. You can also just change your default left and right stick. So if you want to play Southpaw, Legacy, etc., then great. If you do move that around, make sure you come back to set this to, hold on, it's not going to let me do this now. Okay, well, I didn't think that would change that. I've never noticed that before. Hopefully when I play the game again now, it will feel normal. These menus are terrible, which is why you need guides like this. You're welcome. Down we go. Now, I don't need to go into the ground vehicle settings and all that because I don't really use them very much, and it's the same premises with the infantry stuff. You can just tweak them as you want them. But what I have done, if I go into the control settings here, is I have uniform vehicle aiming on, so that when I change something in there, it changed something, I believe, for all of these to have it feel consistent. And then if you want to change something individually, you come come into here and you can do so. Down at the very bottom here, we have UI control mapping. So if you want to change anything for how you interact with the UI, you can in there. And then controller tuning is unbelievably important. I don't know why it's at the very bottom of this list separate, but let's go into that. And let's go to the top of it. Right, we've covered vibration stuff, so let's go to here. This stuff matters a lot. So, the dead zone. Set how much the control input is required for input activation. Basically, the lower you have this, the more quickly your stick will respond to your inputs. Your key driver here is to get this one and this one here as low as possible to the point where it feels like you're getting a reaction in-game as soon as you move the stick, but without the stick drifting when you're trying to not move or feeling like you're keeping momentum when you try to stop moving. So if it all starts to feel way too floaty, then you need to turn it back up. If it's feeling like it's taking way too long for the game to actually make you move when you move the stick, you want to bring this down. So I have this one on 9 and I have this one on 6. You're going to just need to find what works for you. You've also got the actual dead zone here and the max input threshold. This is set how much the control needs to be pushed to produce max input. I have 80 on this one and 100 on this one. It's going to be pure personal preference. Down here, you've got the triggers. For the dead zone for the triggers, I have on 0. I want it to respond straight away. But if you find you're accidentally firing your gun or aiming down sight, then make sure you turn this up. And they've got this 100, this 100. Out of here we can go. And out of here we can go. Which means we've done the controller settings. We can ignore the mouse and keyboard one because this is a controller guide, and that brings us to graphics. Right, performance preset I have on auto or balanced. I used to use this one, auto, for performance, and it actually gave me a lot of screen tearing, so I recommend the balanced one. We've done world brightness, UI brightness, you can change as you want. Sharpness I boosted up a little bit, it helps me to pick the enemies out a little bit more easily. We've done this. Weapon field of view I have on wide, I recommend this. This is just weapon size when not zoomed in. Selecting narrow will make the weapon appear bigger on the screen, wide will make it appear smaller. I just want to see what's in front of me. We did all this as well. This is all done, which means the graphics tab is very quickly finished. We can go across to audio. A lot of this you can see what I'm using. Is there anything of relevance? I use headphones. War tapes I find to be the best for me so far for footsteps, but if you find something else works better, then go for it, and feel free to let me know in the comments below. I don't have voice chat on because I stream the game. VoIP stats therefore don't matter for me. We've done this, we've done that. I don't have the radio on because I don't want my videos, content or whatever to get claimed because, again, YouTuber. So we can move across to system. I don't need to do anything in there particularly. Crossplay you can turn off and on based on what you're doing that day. If you're on console, if you want to play with PC, turn it on. If you don't want to play with PC, turn it off. Up to you. I turn mine off and on depending on what I'm doing. Most of this not particularly relevant. Minimap, I think we covered somewhere else. Yes, we did. That's already done. God, these menus are convoluted. This, that, this. Done. Extras done. That's the guide. Like and subscribe if it helped you. That's amazing. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much. Patreon in the description. Thank you for everything that you do. Likes help the video. Subscribing helps me get towards 100k. YouTube is now showing you another video of mine that thinks you'll like, and I'll see you over there.